Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at flip learning. Now, what is flip? Well, flip a lot of times is equated with making videos, instructional videos like this.
5, 6, 7, 8, sorry, 8 basic family.
And that can be flipped learning. It can be a flipped classroom. But in reality, flipped is quite a bit more than that. Flipped is actually a spectrum, starting over here with the flipped classroom, moving to flip learning, followed by flip mastery, and then flipped whatever. So let's dig into each one of those and talk about what flip is in each of those contexts. Flip classroom is what you traditionally think of or may have heard of, where you simply take lecture, you put it on video, and the video goes home with the student, and the student does what they would otherwise do at home in class. So it's schoolwork at home, homework at school. That is a very simplified definition. A better way to think about it, though, is flip allows you to take the group space and the individual space, and it allows you to reorganize those spaces by taking the things that a student can do individually, putting them at home, taking the things that the student needs to do as a group that really needs some more supports and doing them together at school. So that's the whole point of flip, and that's the name. So it's the group space and the individual space, and the reality is a flip, the goal is to make more space. But in the flipped classroom, what really happens is you end up shifting class to home, home to class, but in a variety of ways. It's not always just homework and video. We need to think outside that box. But what you really begin to do is if all you do is homework and the lecture flipped, you're not really getting all the bonus of what flip has to offer. If you really move into flip learning, you really evaluate that group space and that learning space, and instead of just doing what you've always done as a class, but different pieces in different places, now flip learning allows you to take the whole thing, reorganize it and rejumble it, and you really get the benefit of learning more effectively, teaching more effectively, and you get a four-letter word: time. Time is the big payoff because you've transformed your group space into something that's dynamic, it's interactive, and it's something where you're guiding without always being in front of the classroom. These are the four pillars of flip, and that's how you know if you're doing flip learning with quality and integrity. So the four pillars of flip are provided to you by the Flip Learning Network, Flip Learning Network, or fliplearning.org. Okay, folks like Bergman, Sam, Bretzman, Kirch, and others like us that give you all sorts of resources to help you on your flip journey. The four pillars are flexible environment, a learning culture, intentional content, and a professional educator. Flexible environment, we've already talked about moving your time, but what it really means is it changes what you do in your classroom. So you not only change the physical environment, you not only change the time environment, but it's all meant for interaction and reflection. And with data gathering, you're making constant adjustments, even adjustments in how you decide what equals mastery or what equals success. Learning culture means you're not just doing curriculum, although you'll end up with a curriculum. You're not just doing goals, although you'll get the goals. The learning culture means you're centering your classroom around learning. And the way you can do that is with those videos or those other take-home materials. They become the scaffold and the supports that bring all students, the way I say it, they come primed to learn. That's why I'm sending you this video, so that you come primed to move forward and go deeper. And the idea here is you can differentiate for different students as their needs require. Intentional content is content that is direct instruction, because that's still important. It just may happen in class, or it may happen at home, or it may happen on the bus, or it may happen somewhere else, and it's accessible to students. It becomes more relevant because it can happen when they need it. And by getting it when they need it means you have activities that require it, means they're ready for it, and they can get it when and where they need it. The key to flip learning is access, access, access 24/7. The other thing that people talk about with flip learning, say, well, what in the world does the teacher do then? You just make the videos and you go, no. Flip learning means you're way more busy than you were, because now you've taken the repetitive, monotonous part and you've moved it somewhere else. And now you have the exciting, interactive, and flexible and crazy part. Imagine the guy with the sticks and the plates spinning around, or the guy juggling chainsaws, as the case may be. And it's all through formative assessment and observation. This is your Edpuzzle. This is your Flubaroo. This is your Edmodo. These are the things that you gather data with and allow you to direct instruction more effectively for each student, and collaborating with your other instructors, other teachers for growth. Finally, flip mastery. Couldn't really used to do flip mastery because there was so much raw data, so many things to track, so many kids go in so many different directions. But asynchronous or nonlinear learning is becoming so much more popular, and it becomes possible once you have that library of instruction, you have the formative methods of assessment, and you've gotten used to teaching in a whole new different way. You really can get into that assess, remediate, reassess pattern that mastery requires, and you get some real payoff. For the last step, you can even go gamification, something that may look like this for a Google training where a student moves through just like a game board, and as they get to each stop, they get points or they get rewards or whatever it happens to be, and they do little projects to show you that they're meeting and hitting each of their minor goals until it accumulates up into a final project. And that's the exciting part. Reorganize now. This still becomes a little linear. You can make it non-linear though just as easily. So with all those things, that's what Flip is. Now let's talk about how to do it.